Hello everyone, I'm Aaron, a birding naturalist. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here at Bitter Creek. That's Condor country. Let's talk California Condors. The past couple of days, I've been staying at the Hudson Ranch Resort in Kern County. And one of the cool things about this resort is how close it is to the Bitter Creek National Wildlife Refuge, part of which you can see behind me. Bitter Creek is an important spot for California condors for a few reasons. California condors, they're the biggest land bird in North America. Wingspans can get almost 10 feet across. They can weigh 25, almost 30 pounds. Big birds. But in part because of their size, they drew attention from things like poaching, and also because of their eating habits, they're vultures. They tended to accumulate chemicals such as DDT and also lead. And also because they're big, they need a lot of range, and habitat destruction was really hard on them. And so over the course of the 20th century, their numbers really declined rather precipitously, to the point where in 1987, the last wild condor was actually captured and brought into a captive breeding program. And that last wild condor was captured here at Bitter Creek. The last few condors, there were 27. The total population of California condors had dropped to 27 individuals, and all 27 were brought into this special captive breeding program. It was very ambitious. It was very difficult. It could have gone bad in so many ways, but through the perseverance of a ton of dedicated wildlife biologists and birders and falconers and the birds themselves, they were able to survive and reproduce in captivity. And some of those captive reared birds were re-released into the wild starting in 1991. And one of the first three original re-release points was also right here at Bitter Creek. So it's another reason why this is sort of a special place in condor history. The Condor Recovery Program has been going really well ever since then. More and more condors are being hatched. More and more condors are being released into the wild. There are, as of this recording in 2024, something like 560 condors alive in the world. Something like 300 of those are currently in the wild. The rest are still being kept in those captive breeding programs to continue making sure the species can keep going into sort of more controlled situations rather than the wild birds. But wild birds are absolutely out in the landscape, and they themselves are also reproducing and hatching wild chicks in the world, which is really, really exciting. In 2015, a sort of milestone was reached where there were actually more condors hatched in the wild than birds that died that year. So that really marks a point where this population is genuinely increasing in numbers, sort of on its own. And that's a really exciting thing. The first wild chick was hatched in 2003. And so from 2003 to 2015, it was this uphill slog. And now they really feel like they're sort of reaching an inflection point where there may be able to be a self-sustaining population in the wild. And condors are spreading, right? As their numbers grow in the wild, and also captive reared released birds contributing to the population, they are spreading to more and more areas. The most recent big area of reintroductions are up on the north coast of California, up in the Redwoods, where the Yurok tribe has really pioneered for the past 20 years this effort to get condors reintroduced to that landscape, the northern coast redwood forests, where they certainly historically did persist. And so with the Yurok's guidance, they have selected partners of landowners, National Park Service, state parks, stuff like that, where these condors could roam freely. They've created roost sites and release sites, so the condors can be safely housed in their new environment for a while in a sort of contained situation, get used to the area, and then have those doors open and fly free. And that's been really successful. There are, I think, about a dozen right now condors flying over the redwoods, which is the first time it's happened in a generation or more. And also the condors that are existing in other parts of California and Arizona and Mexico are expanding their ranges. They're exploring new areas. One really exciting development just from summer of 2024 was when a group of 7 condors got together from sort of the Central Coast area and flew north, away from their release sites, away from their sort of established territories, and flew all the way past Mount Diablo in the East Bay, cruised around there, and just kind of spent a day wandering around the Mount Diablo, Clayton, Concord, Livermore kind of area before retracing their steps and returning back to their territories. So that's a really interesting, really amazing exploratory journey. It is entirely possible that someday, maybe someday in the near future, we will have condors recolonizing Mount Diablo, which would be amazing. Here at Bitter Creek, we've actually been lucky enough to see a few condors. When we first came in, there were a couple soaring around, but we weren't able to stop. I was able to get these photos of White 80. White 80 is a male California condor. He was hatched at the LA Zoo in 2008 and then was released here at Bitter Creek in 2009 and has been basically living in the area ever since. So really exciting to see these birds. And since they have those tags on the wings, they're actually identifiable. And in fact, you can look up, if you see a condor and you get a wing tag number off of it and a color, you can put that number and color together and find out which individual condor you saw, because there are organizations that have posted all of the individuals and all their sort of biographies, where they were born, where they've lived, where they've moved around, who they've mated with, what offspring they've had. Their whole biographies are all online, and I'll link some websites in the description of this video so that you can see where the condors are and how they're moving around, and maybe if you see a condor, identify your condor and see who that was. Many of them have names, some of them don't. White 80 doesn't really have a name, but still it's his title. And so yeah, it was really exciting to see him fly by and to be able to then go on the website and look, okay, who is this? And find out a little bit about him. It's been great to stay in this area. The Hudson Ranch Resort is a great spot to hang out, and the Bitter Creek National Wildlife Refuge is rugged and beautiful. It is sort of deserty, dry situations, so it's hot, but it's been amazing. Great birds to see. Very exciting visit. Thank you very much for the view. I hope you learned something fun about condors, and keep your eyes peeled. You know, you never know when that next condor is going to take some exploratory flight out from their established territories and go, who knows where, maybe past you. Thank you very much for the view, and as always, until next time, enjoy the natural world.